What up, YouTube? It's your boy Banks, and we back in the building, you feel me? It's True Talks, cause True Talks, all right? Let's get straight right into it. So you already know, basically, man, I told you, the grass ain't always greener on the Clippers side, the Lakers side. The grass ain't always greener, man. So basically, over the last couple days, there's been news and been reports that, not been news and reports, basically Schroder in his media day for the Lakers basically said that he's not trying to come off the bench. He did that bench shit already in OKC. He's been doing that bench shit already in Atlanta and all that type of stuff. He's been doing that 6-man type of stuff. He's done with that bench type of stuff. He's trying to be the starting point guard. You know what I'm saying? That's what he's trying to be the starting point guard. And obviously that has created and caused uproar within media, especially, you already know, the LeBron fans, because LeBron right now currently, especially since last year, has been his first official year at the point guard position, right? So now automatically when you say, oh, I want to be a point guard, I want to be the point guard, the starting point guard, you're automatically saying LeBron shouldn't be, right? It kind of goes hand in hand. So that's why now you already know the LeBron fans come out of here and the media and everyone, oh my goodness, really? What are you talking about? Wow, Schroder? You see how just a few seconds ago they were happy. My God, we got Schroder, we got Trez, we got, Matthews, we got this, that, and the third. And that's what I was saying in my last video, who made the better moves. And that's what I was saying, they're making it seem like the Lakers are, tremendously better than what they were last year. And that's what I was saying. No, a lot of the reasons why the Lakers won in the bubble, which again is a bubble. It's not the same type of teams you're facing. It's not the same everything. But regardless, them winning in the bubble, they still struggled with the Heat. They shouldn't even have been 6-7 games with the Heat. That's a 5th seed in the East, 5th seed. You know what I'm saying? So that's just perspective. But anyways, I was saying in the bubble, yes, kudos, you got the ring. But part of the reason and a lot of the reason why you got the ring was hierarchy. Y'all struggled for a lot of points during the season, a lot of times during the season. You struggled with Kuz fitting in because he's someone who doesn't give in to the hierarchy. The hierarchy, what I mean by hierarchy, which is LeBron, AD, right? Them two obviously take all the shots. Is 1A, 1B, whatever. Today's AD's night, today's LeBron's night. It doesn't matter. Them two sharing the bulk of the duties, and then everybody else fits into a role-playing role, which means you're just spotting up. We don't really run plays for you. Like, yes, they might, like, within context, but when it comes down to it, like, you're just spotted up. You're a floor spacer. You only get the ball depending on what the defense does. We're trying to go to here, which is LeBron or AD. We're trying to go to either one of us first and second. And then y'all kind of just, based on the defense, they overhelp. Now I hit you in the corner. Or, I drive, they help. Now I hit you over here. Or, pick and roll, now you get the alley. Stuff like that. Everybody was a role-playing role. From Dwight to Caruso to KCP to Danny Green. Everybody, even when Avery Bradley was there, everybody was a role playing. You play defense and you get it here, right? Only one was Kuzma, who was trying to be a Lou Will of that team. He was trying to be who he normally is, which is a scorer, right? And that was creating dissension. That was creating, a lot of problems with the Lakers fans, with the Lakers, just gelling as a whole. My God, Kuzma, why are you shooting at this and that type? He's always trying to find his way. Whenever he gets the rock, I don't get it often. I'm trying to get a shot up. I'm trying to get my rhythm because I'm going to be needed. Like, he's thinking that. And he's not wrong for thinking that. Every scorer has that type of mind. Like, I'm not just here to just spot up. So that's where Kuz was coming from until we had to buy in. Like, you know what? Fine then. You want me to do this, play defense and just 3-and-D roll? I will do that, which is why some shots he normally would shot create, but if it wasn't open or whatever, then he'll pass it back to LeBron. Like, stuff like that. He played more of a role-playing role, and he had to bite the bullet, especially when they were winning, right? So that is more so like, okay, Kuz could do that because, one, he hasn't won anything. One, he was just a rookie, then he was a second year. Like, he hasn't been basically done anything that to demand that type of, are you dumb? It's me. right? So which is eventually, I already knew, just when time passes, eventually he's going to have to lose himself and then just be whatever they want him to be. That happens in basketball all the time, right? It happens with every team, whatever the case is. But now, again, like I said, role playing roles. So you have the hierarchy. Everyone knows what it is, and then everybody else. So those guys, like, if they don't get in the situation that's favorable, unless the shot clock is dying, we hit you back. Try again. If you don't succeed, just try again. Yes, do that again. That's what it was. You know what I'm saying? So now that fit into the hierarchy. Again, on the Clippers side, they had hierarchy issues. Like if Kawhi was to pass it, rarely would he get it back. Lou Will, I'm trying to cook now. PG, I'm trying to cook now. Marcus Morris, are you dumb? I'm trying to cook now. Hero, I'm trying to cook now. You know, Lou Will, I'm trying to cook now. I think I said Lou Will already, but yeah, even Reggie Jackson, I'm trying to cook now, right? Everybody's trying, only one maybe Shamit and, you know, 1, 2 other guys, but Jamaica or whoever. But most of the times, they're all trying to cook. So that's why I was saying the hierarchy sometimes is affected. You don't get maximum ability and everything out of your 2 main guys. Hierarchy is always crucial for team success. Everybody knows their roles. You always hear a star say that, KD, whoever, when they're everybody knows their roles. Like knowing your roles is part of hierarchy. You have to know your role coming in, which means I know what I'm supposed to be do. I have that comfort and that, you know, I'm buying into it. It is what it is. So now when you look at it, that was a huge part. The only one who now kind of sometimes could do more was Rondo, because when he's off the court or when LeBron's off the court, Rondo's the playmaker. So his role was being the playmaker. But once LeBron comes back, go back to the corner. You only get it if I will give it to you. Which is why Rondo's like, I'm not doing this shit again. He was out regardless. He wanted a bigger role. If I'm getting less money, I'm getting a bigger role. If I'm getting, you know, if I can't get either, I'm out. Either big money, same role, or less money, bigger role. Let me know. I'm out. You know what I mean? And he's a dog. So he sacrificed for that shit, for that. And then that was it, right? So hierarchy plays a lot of part or a key role into a lot of these things. So when you look at it now, the Lakers, everyone's like, oh my God, this and this and that. And I said, remember my last video, I said, yo, y'all are removing defense. The 3-and-D players all over the place was a main reason why y'all went, right? The Lakers won. Now you bring a more offensive-minded player, not just an offensive-minded player, someone who was almost a 6-man. He feels that he's here. I'm not just here. I have pull. I'm a priority. Not only did you just bring me here, you brought me here because you're losing Rondo, so you need me. And I was just averaging 18. Like, it's an offensive-minded player you're bringing. Who focuses more on offense than defense. You know what I mean? Granted. Then you lose the White, right? You bring in Trez. Again, more offensive-minded player and was a 6-man candidate or 6-man player of the year. So when you have a runner-up and you have a 6-man, those aren't guys, they're not 6-man from defense. You're not anytime you have a 6-man player, it's because of offense. You're only a 6-man because of the offensive production you produce, not because of defense. Which is why Lou Will been winning it. Jamal Crawford been winning it. It's offensive production. You could be an all-star player, but you're in a 6-man role. Ginobili has been that. All that type of stuff. So when you look at it from that perspective, I said you're basically as Lakers fans and Lakers team, you're shifting the gear from we focused on defense so much that now, no, we want more offense. And I said, you wanted more offense, you're going to lack defense in those areas. So the amount of tremendous gap that people are saying the Lakers took and the jump that they took isn't as big. They still got better because, again, you need offense when it matters too. But the reason why they beat the Heat wasn't because of offense. It was because of defense, especially the way y'all play. Remember, your 2 main guys, AD and LeBron, aren't removing. So you're always going to be at your best in transition. That's especially LeBron. Like, that's his bread and butter. Doesn't mean he can't play half court. Doesn't mean, but your bread and butter, your A+ grade is transition. And AD is a big man who can run and outrun the other big man, outrunning Jokic, etc. Like, they eat off getting stops, transition, whether it leads to a 3, whether it leads to a foul, whether it leads to a bucket. That's like a lot of their offenses like that. Especially when you're like, oh my God, they're going on a run like this and they're tearing. It's not just half court precision, IQ, picking poison. No, that's cap. It's defense leading to offense. That's how they've been playing. That was their blueprint. That was their staple. So when you look at it from that perspective, like, yo, you're losing some of the DNA of what you are to fix your offensive struggles that you knew you had in moments, especially versus the Heat, etc. like that. But those games that you weren't getting stopped and they were solid on offense and you were solid on offense, you lost. When it came down to the clutch. But the games you won was when you locked up Butler. They put 80 on Butler. They weren't scoring offensively. You were padding them. And then you won. That proves exactly what I've been saying. Their defense was their offense. The games, both of them were just cerebral offensively. The Heat took those 2 games. But in hindsight, and in that moment, it's just like, yo, we need a scorer to do this. So LeBron, if he passes, is not, to Danny Green shooting the three. They're looking at the offensive side of things, which you get caught up in. But you don't see the full picture. The grand scheme, everything that's transpiring, the context. That's where I'm here. Give you that IQ because that's what I do. So anyways, now you look at it from that perspective, they focused on offense. Offensive replacements. Dwight Howard, we have Harrow here, offensive replacement. Rondo, okay, we have Schroder here, offensive replacement. But what you forget about that is that an offensive replacement, those guys demand. That's why the hierarchy now is going to change. If I'm not getting what I'm supposed to be getting, don't matter if we win or lose, I'm complaining. Especially if we lose, I'm saying something. Like, yo, what are we doing here? We're struggling and I'm here, give me the rock, I'm ready. It's more proper, I can serve them like hot spaghetti. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not just going to sit here and watch brick after brick after brick. Like, give me the rock, enough is enough. That's score mentality. And that's where the hierarchy gets affected. Which is why sometimes the Clippers had issues. Especially when stuff is going well, obviously, hierarchy, whatever, especially if Kawhi's eating PG, whatever, the hierarchy, whatever. But the games when, let's say, Kawhi's eating PG struggling, now it's an open spot for, yo, who's coming to help me? Scores, scores come now. Marcus Morris, he's not one more passing, one dribble, contested pull up. He might hit it, he might not. Lou will, instead of passing it to the roller, I'm going to do this fade to the left. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Like, you're more individually focused on your abilities. That's just a scorer's mentality, which is a great mentality. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just when you have to, as a team now, know I need to have only specific amount of these guys. Having too much of these guys, there will be clashes because who's going to be the one to bite the bullet and say, remove the scorer of mine and just be a regular role player? And they're not going to be happy in that role unless you're winning. Like, you know what I'm saying? So now coming in, you want a ring, and coming in, those are guys who weren't even 6th man of the year, like other than Lou Will, like Marcus Morris, Reggie Jackson, like the list goes on. They weren't guys who were 6th man of the years. So I already have a title and a great season, and now I'm supposed to just spot up. That's where Dennis Schroder is coming from. I can do more on this biggest stage in LA. I don't want to just be a role player and then that's what I'm like. This is my opportunity to show you what it is. Because if I win a ring as a role player guy, yes, it might boost me, but people are going to look at him as, you're going to be more stuck in that role. You get sus. That's what happens. When you have too many different teams of being the same role, it's hard for you to break out of that role. Now, everyone now moving forward is going to pay you. Even if they pay you a bag, it's for that role. You know what I'm saying? Which is why Lou Will got stuck being the 6th man guy. Regardless of even when he had no stars. He got stuck because that's been his successful role. Even when they didn't have Tobias Harris or whatever, he still was coming off the bench. He's still, being the top scorer on that team, still was coming off the bench, regardless. Because now you found your rhythm in that role. And everyone looks at you as that guy in that role. A narrative gets painted based off situations sometimes, which is unfair sometimes because you're just playing to what the cards are giving you at that moment. But that's how this game goes, right? That's why I always say you have to be able to discern situation, versatility, and all that type of stuff and understand that this guy could do more. He's just doing this based on this. This guy could do this, but he's just doing this based on this. This guy could only do this, or he's only doing this based on this, right? So there's you got to understand the game to that level to know that. So just from looking at it from that perspective, Dennis It's not wrong. People are bashing him and whatever. Dennis is not wrong for coming the way he's coming. Obviously, we understand that, okay, you know what? LeBron been PG, whatever the case is. But from Dennis Schroder's mind, he's like, LeBron's natural position isn't PG. This is his first year playing PG. He's probably playing PG because of necessity. That's how all these other guys are looking at him. Oh, you don't actually have a PG, like Rondo's injured. Rondo, you want him to come off the bench. Your starting lineup, you don't really have a PG. It's like Avery Bradley, Danny Green, you know what I'm saying? KCP or whoever, and then 80 and then LeBron, like there's no PG. LeBron run the PG due to necessity. You don't have to run the PG. You didn't run PG when you had Chalmers. You're still small forward. You can still bring it up, but you still had a starting listed PG. It was, Kyrie. It was, Eric Snow back in the day. It was Mauro Chalmers. You know what I'm saying? Like, you always had a starting PG. It was George Hill. Like, you always had a starting PG. Let me be that. Go back to your original shit. You can still bring up the ball, do whatever, but go back to your original shit. And this is a deeper context and a deeper dive where that's why I say that LeBron doesn't make people better individually in their own. They have to sacrifice so much. You always have to sacrifice. But the things that these guys have to sacrifice, they can't even be somewhat of who they are. They have to become a whole new person, even though it's not their best ability. Schroeder's best ability isn't spotting up. Schroeder's best ability is at worst mixing it. And a more where he's ball handling more than he's spotted up, which is why he came off the bench. Right? And even when they literally have a lineup of Shea, Chris Paul, and Schroeder, and they all would share duties. He can spot up, but I definitely can ball handle. And I'm only spotting up if there's 3 guys who could take my actual position. But if there's only 1 guy, why can't we mix? You know what I'm saying? That's where like LeBron hinders a lot of players, which is why people call this player a bum or see this player as, oh, all he could do is spot up. All he could do is this. No, they're only doing that because LeBron needs the paint. LeBron isn't a cerebral person offensively. He has a lot of weaknesses in just certain aspects of the game offensively that he thrives in his one way. So he needs everyone to fit with his one way. And I've been said that a lot of the times. And that's why a lot of people, like even Kyrie, I want to be out, or a lot of people, they look like a shell of themselves when they play with him. We can go down the list from JR to Jordan Clarkson to Rodney Hood to George Hill to whoever, there's so many people. Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Kuz. The list goes on. You know what I'm saying? The list goes hella on. Even Wade, Kyrie, the list goes on. Then when they're by themselves, you see the only Kyrie look more elite because he's still bought into that role. And LeBron, at least because he knows he's so elite at his role, he said, I'm going to defer and at least give you some of it and try to play off ball. He tried to. Give him credits to that. But you see even K-Love, Chris Bosh, like we've seen guys play off ball that sacrifice their whole game or a crucial part of their game to play with LeBron. And LeBron never sacrifices. You know what I'm saying? He plays his way. So that already in itself, this again is another one of those cases you could add to the list. I probably even forgot some more. But every time they're without LeBron, thrive. Like Ingram, thrive, right? Kuz was thriving. Clarkson redeemed himself and look at him, got a bag in Utah. But when they're the same people who say they had 4 cadavers playing with them in the finals with LeBron, right? Rodney Hood. You saw what he was doing when he went to Portland before he got injured. You know what I'm saying? George Hill went to Milwaukee. You saw what he was doing, right? Like the list goes on. Jay Crowder, Derrick Rose, even Isaiah Thomas. Like the list goes on to more. So you know what I mean? It's so many players, right? That do way more when they're not with him. So it's not a knock against LeBron, even though it seems like it is, but it's truth. Sometimes when you tell the truth, it's hard to hear and it looks like a knock, but at the end of the day, it's just a reality check. It's just a reality. So realistically, that's why these LeBron fans are going at Dennis the way they're going at Dennis, because LeBron only plays one way. So the fact that you're getting at Dennis and making it seem like he's tripping if you reflect and sit back, it just shows you how y'all are really tripping. That's like KD going to Warriors and saying, you know what, Steph, don't be you. I need the ball. You spot up. Yo want him. You know what I'm saying? Like, KD can play with anybody. Steph can play with anybody. They're cerebral offensively, that they have multiple aspects and multiple factors to their games and multiple sides to their games that they could fit with, and they could dive into this part of their game to fit with this person if he needs this part of his game. Perfect example is Rondo. Rondo shouldn't have never been spotting up. He's never been a spot-up shooter. Or what are you talking about? He's a ball handler, cerebral point guard. That's what he is. Why is he spotting up? LeBron, go play off the ball. You're a small forward. You're 6'8", 6'9". You don't have to play the point. You should be able to dive into this part of your game. Go in the post now. You get what I'm saying? Why is it? But that's even a different discussion. But anyways, like I was saying, KD, these guys, like they have multiple factors to their game. That's why KD could play with so many ball dominant or so many elite type of point guards, because he could do anything. You want me to play off ball, right? You want me to set back screens and play within this motion off offense? Okay. You want me to spot up? You want me to come off a down screen? You want me to come off a back pick? You want me to catch in the post? You want me to bring up the ball and ball handle and run pick and roll? Like, I could do anything. He literally can do anything. LeBron can do one thing. So when you look at it from that perspective, that even to me makes you, like, that's a different part of assessing your game, who's better, in terms of, like, if you could do multiple things like that, it enables you. That's why you don't see these guys lose as often as LeBron, because LeBron has one style of play. So if he doesn't have everything fit him to his perfect or to perfection, it's going to be hard for him to win in a 7-game series. He needs everything to fit exactly how he needs it to fit, which is why he duplicates teams wherever he goes, which is why once this team digresses in whatever they were doing, he now leaves, because he wants to recreate it with younger people or with a better situation. Instead of, like, you know what? D-Wade, your knees are moving fugazi. You can't, do this as much. You know what? Let me go to the post and you bring it up and ball handle and you facilitate and I'll play off ball. Like stuff like that. Or Chris Bosh, you go to the post. I'll, play corner for a minute. Like stuff like that. Like there's ways to attack mismatches and finesse it, but they don't, y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so like I said, Schroder's not wrong for what he's thinking. And we didn't even get to Harrell. Harrell might be more humbled because he got abused in media for his Fugazi defense and getting abused by Jokic. So his stock kind of dropped a little bit. I don't think his stock dropped a little bit as much. I just think that because you remember, he wants to still be in a contending situation. It's just the Clippers probably weren't looking for him like that. They're like, yo, we're trying to get a Ibaka. He's a better version. So now, like, Trez is probably thinking, I'm 6th man of the year. I'm supposed to get all of this hoopla. And I didn't. Only hoopla I'm getting from is like the Raptors and all these other places. Like, I'm not trying to go there. I want to be in a contending limelight LA situation. So if I got to sacrifice 2 years for LA, but I'm still able to maybe win, maybe that'll boost me again. So he might come in more humbled and more like, you know what I mean? But like I said, the dog in you, that's coming in those moments where you lose and you didn't get the ball and you felt like you should have, or you could have carried in this situation, or you could have done this, or could hit me on the roll. That's where all this stuff, all that money, all that coming in, your role, that shit goes out the window. In the heat of the moment, in arguments, in the locker room, all that type of stuff, that's when your character, who you are, gets brought up. You can't sit there. Like, if you're someone who's a scorer at heart, no matter what it comes down to, in those moments, the score at heart's going to come out. Only if you know. Only if you play ball, There's only so long you can bite your tongue. You're going to explode. It's going to happen. Especially if it's constant. Maybe the first time it's like, yo, if I'm here, you need. Yo, whenever you need, I'm here. You tell him, man. But when it's, 5 losses now, or like, a game you should have won and it's constantly happening, doesn't mean you're like a losing team, but it just, those situations keep being, yo, we don't need to lose. Just give me the rock. What are we doing here? Like, you keep sussing. I'm tired of watching this shit. Like, that what mans will say in the locker room. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, when you hear it from that perspective, like, Dennis is not wrong. He's coming from a scorer's perspective. Harold's not saying that now, but he's going to come from a scorer's perspective. So that now is going to affect your hierarchy. How y'all have never played without the hierarchy. The last time LeBron has played without a hierarchy, that was when it was Ingram and Kuz together. They still average 18, but there was play style issues. I'm not saying they're obviously not going to make the playoffs like that situation with the injury and whatever, but I'm just saying that's the last time he played without hierarchy. You know what I'm saying? And that was a struggle. Even Kuz himself was a struggle. Now you have still Kuz. He went off social media, so he's still trying to redeem. Y'all treating me like this? Y'all in for a rude awakening. He's going to come try and go back to his score bag. He might only get humbled and not go into it when it's playoffs. But regular season, he's trying to go into and establish. He's like, I'm not doing this shit. Is it even contract year for him? It might be. I'm not too sure. You can check that. But he's, I'm not trying to do this shit. So he's going to go back into that. Schroder, you already know. He's so ready to just, I'm a scorer. He even, before even day one, he announced and let it be known and put it in media. Like, he's a dog. So, we don't play that. And then you still got Montrez. Everybody else, you already know, role-playing roles. Wes Matthews, 3-and-D. They're not going to step on no one's toes. Like, Wes Matthews not coming here shot creating. He's not going to step on no one's toes. He used to go into the post a lot with Portland, but that was when he was more healthy before the Achilles tear. But now he's just 3-and-D. Like, he knows what his bread and butter is. He's not, you know what I mean? He'll only create if he has to, like, low shot clock. That's, KCP. All of these guys is just role-playing roles. You know what I'm saying? But those 4 guys or 3 guys, is it more than what you can handle? Do you digress just because of that dynamic? People don't understand that, like, that's what a lot of the Lakers, they're not thinking about. This is reminding me more. They're looking more like the Clippers than the Lakers of last year. That's what they're looking more like coming into the season. So it's like, again, hierarchy issues. And this is like, I'm telling you, man, like, this is a recipe for, and you already know if LeBron don't like it, they trade Schroder ASAP and during the season. You know what I'm saying? But like I'm saying, this the way it's looking like I was saying beforehand, that's why I was saying y'all got better still, because offensive weapons is offensive weapons. But at what cost did you get better? Is your defense going to be removed so much? Is your chemistry and your hierarchy going to be removed so much that your offensive output isn't so cerebral enough to replace all of those? Because the Clippers' offensive output was cerebral enough to replace all of those factors. But what happens when you're threatened and when it matters and you're pushed to the brim? It will explode. You don't want to go down the same road if you're the Lakers. In a tougher conference now that obviously Klay's still injured, but teams have gotten better, more rest, full training camp, all that type of stuff. So no bubble, not regular, but more normal routine and atmosphere, mental game, being able to see their kids, all that type of stuff. So, it's going to be a different situation. So we'll see how they handle it. Y'all let me know in the comment section, what you think of how they should handle it, or if I'm tripping, who is more so in the wrong. I think, like I said, naturally, ideally, and just based off just basketball, as a basketball purist and just basketball IQ, that's what I do. Schroder should be actually starting, and LeBron should be playing off the ball and work on that part of his game. But we already know the reasons why LeBron won't do it. Not just the fact that he don't really have it to that magnitude to do it, but a lot of it is you already know what he's going for. He's going for the most points, most assists, he's going for those longevity stats, which you don't blame him for because he's trying to make his case as the GOAT. His GOAT case is longevity. So him doing what he was doing last year for a couple more years will push him and propel him to that point and have more of an argument. Even if he doesn't win any rings, those stats, are key, which is why he plays fourth quarters, OD, because most star players rest the fourth quarters. They play the first and the third. But LeBron purposely lets AD play the whole first, and he comes out early so he could start his regular rotation, start the second, start the fourth. So he's playing against the bench, and he could attack. They're strategic. You understand that, right? You got to understand that because LeBron normally never really did that. It was normally Kyrie that started the second, you know what I'm saying? And LeBron will come in more later, right? So, and that's why people were like, oh my God, what are they doing when LeBron's on the bench? But LeBron comes out earlier. This is the first time he's been doing it. He hasn't done it in his career to Lakers. So there's reasons for that, obviously, right? So him playing that point guard, role that he's now established, like predominantly primary point guard, not just small forward ball handling, but actually position wise and everything helps his longevity. So Dennis Schroder, like LeBron is being more selfish in that aspect, right? But Dennis Schroder is not wrong because ideally you should have Dennis, Wes, you know what I'm saying? Who is it? KCP 2, KCP, LeBron, then AD. Or Dennis, Wes, LeBron, AD, Gasol. Right? That's what you should have. And LeBron can still ball handle as the 3. Like how he's normally been playing his whole career. Like that's, and play more off ball, do other things. And you can mix and match between Dennis and you. Right? That could be like a Kyrie and you. Like obviously Dennis is not a Kyrie, but that type of lineup. So Dennis is not wrong for thinking that. Because he's thinking, okay, now you have a natural PG. Now you're going back to normal form. So he's not wrong for thinking that. Obviously, because LeBron has established himself now as PG, LeBron fans and media are going to say he's wrong, but he's not wrong. You know what I'm saying? He's not wrong because he's thinking, you know, we need to be at our best. If I'm at my best, y'all have other things that you could be at your best at, and we can, you know, make this cohesive unit and let it, you know, let's take it to the highest form. But again, like I said, LeBron has been a one-way type of player, and even more one-way now that he's older and etc. and all that type of stuff. Got his max deal, all of that. So when you look at it from that perspective, like he's not going to relinquish that. It's going to be Schroder. It's going to be Harrell coming off the bench doing the Lou Will thing type of tandem. We'll see how this plays out. Y'all let me know who you think is in the wrong, who you think, you know what I mean, whatever the case is. I think, like I've always thought LeBron shouldn't have been point guard. I already know that, yes, he had a great year and all that type of stuff, but for your team unlocking purposes, LeBron should have been from time worked on his off-ball game, his post game, his catch and shoot game, that now other guys, like imagine Rondo in his main role, like in his best aspect or his best strength, which is ball handling, pick and poison. LeBron could do these other, you know what I mean? And like your team overall will be at its best, as opposed to LeBron at his best and everybody else at a weaker version of themselves. You're going to be more limited as a team. That's what I look at it. I'm not looking at it from, people are looking at it from LeBron individually, like this is his best, like him being a partner, he should have been done this. Like look at the team you have. How does that hinder the team? And that's what I look at it from. Which is why KD sacrifices. He could easily come down, score 50 with the Warriors every single time. He only does it as a necessity. When y'all plays and the ball movement isn't working, now give it to me for mano a mano. But he plays within. He plays within the flow. So he sacrifices a lot of his stats. He's averaging 25. He's been averaging 27, 30 plus. You think he can't average 34 and his prime is his career? But with the Warriors, what he averaged? 25, 26, 20, like, you know what I mean? High efficiency, yes, but he's letting the flow happen. He's playing within offense. LeBron is the offense. That's two different things. If you want to unlock your team, have an offensive flow where now everybody is at their best positions. That's why Kobe, that's why MJ, I always say was better than LeBron, because MJ unlocked Scottie. Scottie was playing a role-playing role while MJ was eating. And then he unlocked Scottie by letting Scottie be the facilitator and ball handler, you know, similar to what LeBron is, a lower tier version of what LeBron is. You get it on transition, like you put everything and I will go through the post. It still runs through me, but you're the one making those decisions. And if you look at it within the triangle offense, and he actually averaged one more point per, his scoring average even went up by 1, as opposed to when he was with Doug Collins snapping. So you got to look at it. You have to just have multiple. You have to be able to be a cerebral offensively. No weakness to be able to do that. So that just tells me that, okay, clearly you're weaker offensively than these prime top tier type of players, because you can only do 1 year. You can't be all 5 teams or 4 teams or different teams and play only one way every single time. That tells me you're hella limited. As opposed to KD, you could see how he played with OKC was different. When Russ was injured and he was MVP, how he played with OKC was different. When Russ was there and when Harden was there, he played different. When he was with the Warriors, he played different. When he's with Kyrie, he's probably going to play more different. Like, there's different aspects and different, you know, versions of his game that there is. But anyways, we don't want to make it about a debate about that. But anyways, like I said, Dennis is not wrong. You know what I'm saying? He might be wrong maybe because they want a ring and now he's coming in with demands. But like I said, y'all are looking at it from an individual perspective, which it is, but it's still in the grand scheme of the team. So I don't think Dennis is fully wrong. You know what I'm saying? I think that LeBron should be off the ball, you know what I mean? As opposed to unlocking the team. AD will do way more, stuff like that. But again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But was it really fixed? Did it really work? That's a different discussion. But anyways, you already know. Let me know in the comment section who y'all feel is in the wrong in this situation. You know what I'm saying? Is it the fans and media, or is it Dennis Schroder? Who is it? You know what I'm saying? The LeBron side or the Dennis side? We'll see how it pans out. Y'all let me know what y'all think is going to happen. You know what I mean? You already know. Anyways, it's True Talks, because True Talks. Share, like, and subscribe. We out here. There's no doubt here and there's no drought here. You feel me? We're very close to the season starting. I'm just waiting for like 80 to sign and all, like, you know, all these moves to be fully finished. Then closer to preseason when they have the rosters established, then I will go ahead and do my, you know, my season predictions of standings for, for the teams of, you know, for the conference, for Eastern Conference, for Western Conference, how I see it's going to pan out. You know what I'm saying? And then we'll talk about more in depth of the Raptors. I'm just waiting for, like, I don't know why 80. Well, we know why he's taking so long. Obviously, LeBron, Clutch Client Sports, or Clutch Sports, you know, he's a Clutch client. They both are. So obviously they're trying to strategically move on, not just individually for their own, you know, benefits, but for the Lakers setting it up for the future, right? So they're trying to be strategic, right? So obviously. So you already know. Again, like I said, I appreciate y'all. Share, like, and subscribe. We out here. There's no doubt here and there's no drought here. You feel me? You already know, man. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And I'm out, man.